I, 33 male, have been married to my wife, 29 female, for 3 years, together 8 years in total. Recently, something occurred that made me think my wife might have been unfaithful to me. But due to extenuating circumstances, there is also a chance she has in fact been 100% loyal. I've read through Gutling knows how many cheating relationship posts on Reddit and other forums the last few days looking for answers to no avail. I'm at a loss on how to proceed and need advice. Background. My wife is a nurse for a local practice where she has worked for the past 5 years. Her hours are from 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. I work as shift maintenance engineer for a local manufacturing plant on second shift from 3:30 to 1:30 a.m. Sunday through Wednesday. I think our relationship is good despite working differing shifts. The first half of each night at work, we are texting and talking on the phone to each other until goes to bed. When I get home, she is already asleep. So I usually watch an hour or two of TV before joining her in bed. Our sex life has always been great and still is as far as I can tell. We have no children because my wife cannot carry a child to full term. That has never been an issue to me because I've never wanted kids. For several years, when my wife and I started dating, she had difficulty with insomnia. She tried over-the-counter medications and several prescriptions before her doctor eventually prescribed Ambien. She had gotten to a point where a lack of sleep was causing health problems and affecting her quality of life. I think the Ambien was only supposed to be prescribed a short while, before moving on to a different drug. But now she's been on the medication about 4 years. When she first began taking the medication, it caused her to stay groggy most of the day. But she passed that side effect fairly quickly. The other side effect, sleepwalking, or somnambulism, has remained since the first week she began taking Ambien. Over the years, she has tried different medications that don't cause her a sleepwalk, but they don't help her sleep. So we have dealt with the sleepwalking as best we can together. Most of her interactions are amusing, if not funny. I could not begin to list the number of times she's gotten out of bed and walked to the kitchen for food. I've seen her stand naked as a jaybird in front of the sink, eating brownies, gingerbread, pie, and other baked goods I get in my head to make. But I have many times watched her fix a huge bowl of cereal with milk and sit in the floor to eat it. Once she even spilled the milk only to wake a few hours later and sit in the wet spot to eat more cereal. She has no memory of anything she does when sleepwalking. I've seen her smoke in her sleep. Yes, she's a nurse and she knows better. Slam a beer, and even do yoga in her sleep. Nothing, however, could compare to our honeymoon flight. To make a long story short, after we married, I took her to Europe 4 weeks since she had never been outside of the US. We boarded a flight at the Atlanta airport and departed for Paris, France. About 2 hours into the flight, she took an Ambien, and I was already drifting off to sleep due to taking a Dramamine. I was sound asleep when I felt some liquid splash on me. My wife had ordered a glass of wine and spilled it. When I sat up to figure out what the hell was going on, I looked at her and knew she wasn't back sleepwalking. She not only spilled the wine on me, but also on her pants. Well, she proceeded to stand up on a loaded plane and drop her pants. I asked what the F she was doing, and she said she was taking her pants off to let them dry. That would have been fine, even logical, if not for the fact that all she had on beneath her pants was a pair of panties that said juicy across the back. The remainder of the flight, she continued to sleepwalk. I had to keep an airline blanket around her, escort her back and forth to the restroom. We actually went through customs in Paris with her still sleepwalking. Customs never asked her a word, but grilled me like a member of Al-Qaeda. Long story short, she lost consciousness somewhere over the Atlantic and woke in our Paris hotel room and remembered nothing. I had to tell her that story to give a prime example of what she is capable of when she sleepwalks. I have no idea why she never wakes up and never remembers anything. But over the years, she has said some very odd things to me while sleepwalking. Some of these things that I revealed to her later have been things I wasn't necessarily supposed to know. I don't mean that she has ever told me anything she meant to intentionally hide. For example, she had been communicating with one of her girlfriends named Renee about the state of her marriage. Renee didn't want things getting out, so my wife was sworn to secrecy. So when I asked my wife, is Renee planning to file for divorce or his Max? She looked shocked and asked how I knew anything about that. I could give other examples of things she's disclosed about people and situations, but nothing she'd ever said, even hinted at infidelity. In the name of full disclosure, I have to also admit she has said many things that made absolutely no sense at all. When a sleepwalker tells you, I wrecked your Lamborghini yesterday, but you can drive my car to work, or did you get rid of those monkeys in the garage? We don't have a garage. Or monkeys, and I wish I had a Lamborghini. Okay. So a few nights ago, I got off work and came home to watch highlights of the NBA playoff games. I was sitting in front of the TV eating some food before bed when my wife walked past me into the kitchen. As usual, she grabbed a few slices of a sourdough bread I made the day before and sat down in the loveseat to eat. I asked her if the bread was good, and she said it was. I asked if she needed anything to drink, and she said she could get it if she did. I went back to focus on TV when she said something I didn't catch, and asked her to repeat what she'd said. She replied that not listening to her was one of the things that pissed her off most about me. So then went on to tell me Mark, name changed, always listened to her, and that's why she loved talking to him so much. I asked her who Mark was, and she said a patient she couldn't screw until the doctor he was seeing had released him due to conflict of interest concerns. To say I was shocked was a bit of an understatement, but I also had to keep in mind she was sleepwalking. What she said in such a harsh manner did hurt my feelings a bit. Sure or not? But she's never said anything like that about anyone real or fictional before. And I'm a bit perplexed on what to do. Normally, the next chance we'd have had to talk, I would have asked, at the very least, who Mark is. But I didn't even tell her what she'd said to me the night before. I have to admit it has bothered me for days now, but I'm not really sure what direction to proceed. Due to working different shifts, if either of us wanted to stray, we would have the time and opportunity. And while I guess it would be a conflict of interest for her to be involved with the patient, I know patients do hit on her. As far as I know, she has been open and honest anytime the patient crossed the line. Once or twice, that honestly has made me want to go crack a few skulls. But the practice she works for is excellent at handling unwanted attention. The thing I'm concerned about is if there is a patient named Mark or anything else that she wants attention from. What I know, point blank, I haven't had any reason not to trust her, our entire relationship until she revealed she wanted to screw Mark. I've had no reason to snoop until a few nights ago. And due to the fact what was said was spoken while she was sleepwalking, I'm not sure I have reason now. I'm not sure how to proceed, but I have no moral quandary in snooping. I'm just not sure what and where to snoop. Obviously, her cell phone is a prime candidate. But she has her own phone and her own plan. So getting access to her phone or the bill would not be easy. I can't exactly follow her around to see if she's meeting with anyone. If she's off work and I'm off work, she is home. It's the time I spend at work that concerns me. After trying to follow the Catch a Cheater handbook this subreddit provides, I need some suggestions. I don't know what good a voice-activated recorder at home or in her car would assist with. Is that something I should just try to see if it catches her doing anything shady? Hidden cameras, house, car, should I try to get access to her laptop at a snoop? Until a Mark screw comment, I trusted my wife 99%. No human is worthy of a 100% trust. And honestly, the vast majority of my self-trusts are now, but I don't want to miss what was a red flag or flags now. Only to raise the white flag when I've wasted years down the road. Frankly, she's either cheating or she isn't. And if she is, I don't even care with who or about specifics. Cheating is a deal breaker that I wouldn't even begin to tolerate. I just need to get this off my mind, and the only way to do that is to prove she is or is not cheating. I've had this rolling around in my head for days, and due to specifics of how things were revealed, I need help. If I took her to have a polygraph test, not even sure things would register true or false due to issues with her subconscious. I can feel this beginning to cause a rift between us, but I don't want to just come right out and ask because cheaters almost always lie. And I know I have one chance to get to the bottom of this before she feels like I'm on to her. She's acting normally. But I've spent days reading stories about wayward spouses giving no clues they were cheating. Any advice is appreciated. And if you have any crazy ambient stories or can suggest a new sleep aid that she might use instead, please comment. Let's get to those comments. Prismo28 says, maybe take advantage of the next time she sleepwalks and ask her a loaded question. The kind of question that can only be answered if she is, in fact, having a relationship or fleeing with someone else. Then, based on her sleepwalking response, decide whether or not to confront her about it. Also, you can get spy cams of voice actor recorders on Amazon. They have some that even look like cell phone chargers. EOP responds, that's just it. Talking with her while she is sleepwalking is not really reliable. I mean, she knows trash day is Tuesday. I could ask her what day trash day is while she's sleepwalking, and she might say Tuesday, or she might say November. I have been considering the voice-activated audio recorders for the house and her car, but I'm not sure what I'm listening for. If there's an affair partner and she texts everything to him, the voice-activated audio recorder is useless. I guess I'll buy a couple of them to use, but we have a fairly large house. I'm not even sure what rooms to put them in. I appreciate your advice. I truly do. If she'd told me Mark was Mark Wahlberg, I wouldn't have any issues with it. And this Mark may not exist at all. Hell, I'm not sure if I should heed her annoyance at me not listening to her like I should. That could be made up as well. Shaked my head. I'm at my wit's end because this could be absolutely nothing, or something so major it blows our world up. Nascarol says, you have a witness you could interview that works at her job. Call her Sleepy Sue. Now time she is in this state, use the recorder on your phone and ask her if you and Mark had a fun time. And if you plan on seeing him again, tell her you had fun drinking beers with him and ask her the next time you plan on seeing him so can give him his horseback. The beauty is you can interview Sleepy Sue every night for as long as you need to. Just remember to record the interviews. You may try to even ask for his number, see if Sleep BC will get it from your wife's phone. Good luck. EOP responds, okay. That is good advice. But I know her answers while sleepwalking are far from reliable. Don't get me wrong. We have had conversations that were some of the most open and honest in our relationship while she was sleepwalking. She is much more blunt while talking in her sleep. Hell, would the recordings of those nocturnal conversations be admissible in a court of law as evidence? I live in an at-fault state, so proof of cheating would be imperative if we did split, as I make nearly 4 times what she makes. Nasgrove responds back, unless she starts talking about witches, warlocks, and space aliens, how would they know? But my real point is if she admits to it in these conversations, it gives you somewhere to start. You could hire a PI or try to document as much info Sleepy Suit tells you. Maybe dates and times or directions. Just don't confront her until you know for sure she is or isn't cheating. She may change meds or stop taking them altogether. Big Cobb 3 Hondo says, you don't know her phone code? Is there a time you could sneak a look while she unlocks it? After that, it's easy to wait until she sleeps to snoop everything in her phone, which should give you answers. EOP responds, it may be odd. I don't know how other couples handle things, but if I need to use her phone, I just ask. She types in the code and hands it to me. She's never had any issue letting me use her phone when asked. call Google something, but keeps her code. She does seem to stand by to get her phone back when I'm done, but I've never viewed that as suspicious. Maybe I should. It just seems like the best compromise to phone privacy. I handle my phone the same way. But if she ever asked, I just give her my code most likely. I don't care. She just never asked. Right now, with this in the back of my mind, I don't want to ask her for her code. My issue with getting her code is glasses. I have to use readers close up, like typing this out. But 90% of the time, I have no need for them. By the time I got glasses on to read the code, it would be entered.